All the major players returned to Canberra today to try to resolve the roadblock to a new minority government. But there's no guarantee things won't tumble into a third week, or even that another election will be avoided. The election count now stands at 72 seats each for the Coalition and Labor, but the independent WA Nationals MP Tony Crook confused the picture somewhat today by attending the Nationals party room meeting. If he now formally backs Tony Abbott instead of going to the crossbenchers, as he'd said, and the Greens' Adam Bance sticks to his promise to back Labor, that makes it 73 seats all. The new Tasmanian independent, Andrew Wilkie, met Tony Abbott and Julia Gillard at length this afternoon, but said he may not declare for either side. That leaves the three rural-based independents, Tony Windsor, Rob Oakeshott and Bob Katter, who are back in town for discussions with various ministers, shadow ministers and, of course, the party leaders. Political editor Heather Hewitt reports.
They're back in Canberra after the weekend break and ready to talk and talk and talk until they resolve who'll lead the minority government. But just about all that was settled today was the timetable for meetings this week. For Tony Abbott, it wasn't a great start, with independent Rob Oakeshott complaining about a threatening phone call to his wife. Turns out the culprit was New South Wales Liberal hard man Bill Heffernan.
Anyone in Australia whose wife tells them that they've just received a phone call from someone purporting to be the devil, as a husband, it sounds weird.
May influence some people's views, doesn't influence mine. I know Bill's the devil, or have for some years.
I've had a conversation with Tony Abbott this morning about it, and he's very aware of the incident, was reflective of the incident, and neither of us want to derail what is a national interest question in play.
But he delivered Tony Abbott this veiled warning.
I am being asked to have confidence in either him or Julia Gillard, and it is a confidence test of him whether he is going to be able to manage his troops for the next 3 years, either as rogue elements or in a strategic sense.
Tony Abbott has assured him he is acting in good faith, but the opposition leader is now effectively on notice. He has to prove it. The three rural independent MPs, wielding all the power, have just begun the first lot of briefings by government departments on Labor policies and costings. There'll be talks this week with senior government ministers and shadow ministers as well, apart from separate meetings with the leaders themselves. Tony Windsor has reiterated that he won't be bullied by anyone into a hasty decision, including people in his own electorate.
The overwhelming view I get is we trust you, you make the call. Obviously there's a number of people who feel strongly one way or the other.
There's plenty of strong feeling around and guesswork on which way the independents are leaning. They're not giving anything away on that front, but what is plain is their ongoing distrust and dislike of the National Party they once belonged to. Today, the Nationals met at Parliament House for the first time since the election, and leader Warren Truss, noticeably silent until now, was crowing.
The first West Australian National in this party room for more than 2 decades. And so that's especially great to have you here.
Never mind that it's still highly unclear whether the man who ousted Liberal veteran Wilson Tuckey from the seat of O'Connor can be counted as part of the coalition team or not. Today, Warren Truss was staking his own claim and would not be diverted.
Without doubt, our best result since World War II. There are 3 new members sitting around our table and 1 new senator to join us in July.
In other words, don't forget, Tony Abbott or independent MPs, that the National Party still has a voice. Even if it does look as though it's been cut out of negotiations, it's part of the coalition and therefore part of the package.
So it's a partnership, it's like a family. We will have disputes from time to time. We'll all want to go in our own direction to deliver our own priorities from time to time, but overwhelmingly what we agree on and what we can deliver together will ensure that we can manage a stable and secure government for Australia.
But is the new member for O'Connor, West Australian National Tony Crook, in the partnership or not? Warren Truss was repeatedly unable to answer this question.
Tony Crook was with us today, and it's my expectation that he will continue to sit with us, but he has, as he said publicly, indicated that he has an agenda that he wishes to fulfil. We respect that agenda. We agree that it is important for regional Australia to get a fairer share, and he has indicated that if he's not able to achieve that kind of objective, then there are other options available to him.
What is available to him if he doesn't pull off the deal he wants for Western Australia is for him to sit on the crossbenches, and he said that from the outset.
Is it true that you will sit technically on the crossbenches, not with the coalition?
That's correct. I've stated that from day one of the campaign.
The Nationals are desperately trying to cajole him onto the coalition benches, but they may have their work cut out. As it stands, the Coalition and the Labor Party have 72 seats each. If Tony Crook ends up siding with the Coalition and the Greens' Adam Bant sides with Labor, as promised, that makes it 73 all. Former Prime Minister Bob Hawke reckons despite the independents' conservative backgrounds, Labor is still in there with a chance. But at the Melbourne Writers' Festival at the weekend, he accused failed Queensland member John Sullivan of costing Labor a vital seat.
The member for Longman was Labor, John Sullivan, should be hung, drawn and bloody quartered because he threw the seat away with that repugnant remark that he made to that parent in the last few days of the campaign. If he'd held that, then we would have had one more seat.
And an extra seat may have made all the difference in this high-stakes political game. The things to watch out for now are whether the independents decide the future as a bloc or break ranks, and what position Tasmanian Independent Andrew Wilkie takes after his talks with the leaders today.
Political editor Heather Ewing.